curious about the paranormal? Dare you dig deeper? You are listening to Howls and Asher.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this new episode of House of Asher. This is actually episode 105, and as you guys know, I love my childhood. I was very blessed to have sort of a free range way of going about it, climbing trees, chasing frogs, skint knees, and all that. And it's one of these things that certain things stick with you. As you guys know, I grew up on country movies and scary movies and funny movies and all kinds of stuff, but I also grew up on some really great music. And there was a couple bands that really did it for me. One was Sabbath, because of they were kind of heavy, but they also wrote about different type of subject matter. Sometimes it was scary, sometimes it was kind of a lonely, lonesome quality to it. And the other one, which I'm telling you, for me, pound for pound is a better band. I'm sorry, Sabbath fans, but I'm just going to have to tell you, that would be Black Oak, Arkansas. And people don't get it. And I think you've heard me talk about it, and I've posted a whole lot about, different stuff and running up and down gravel roads barefoot and jumping over logs. And, my brothers had speakers in the windows, and we were just bumping it. It didn't matter what it was, Race with the Devil, all of it, man. We loved it all. The X-rated album, the first album, Street Party, man. Good Lord, we about played the grooves off that thing. And I'm lucky enough to have the man, Mr. Jim Dandy. Jim, how are you, buddy?
I'm fine, Steve. How are you doing, buddy?
Well, nervous, honestly. Like I said, it's sort of like talking to. For me, it's like talking to Elvis. It's that deep, and because like I said, I was.
Well, you ain't got to worry about talking to me. I've learned a lot since I was young, but at the same time, what I've learned is the more you know how little you know. And but we've been very fortunate. It's been a great adventure. Like old Mark Twain says, if you get to make a living doing something you love, you never have to work another day in your life. But he wasn't thinking about it, all the miles in between it, until he did that tour at the end to pay all his bills.
Yeah.
But it's just been a great adventure, and I love what I do, and I'll do it to the day I die because I love it.
Well, I want to say, too, a huge thank you and a shout-out to Ricky Lee and Sammy. Both of those folks helped me get this together. And it's one of them things where I remember the first time I heard the startup with the drum kicks and all that, intro to like Hot Nasty and stuff like that. I was a little kid. I was born in '69, and like I said, I think your first album as Black Oak, Arkansas, come out in '71.
No, it was actually the end of 1969. It was like a late born colt, but everybody thought it came out in 1970 actually, because a lot of our albums were gradual sellers anyway, because we fell off the shelf, especially with the first one, and we didn't come out anybody's stable or catalog, as managers would say, but we were, they didn't know what to think about us. My friend Waylon Jennings, thank God, when I first met him, I was nervous as I was when I met Elvis or Bob Dylan or John Lennon. He's, a man's man, and he came in and made me feel easy right off. Said, man, don't worry about anything, Jim Dandy. I'll tell you something. I love about y'all is they didn't know what to think about you. I ought to keep them that way. I thought it had a ring of truth to it. But it's just, it's been a great adventure. And we love our fans, and that's why, we're self-employed, except for the fact that we do work for our fans, and they're our bosses as we did anybody else. We want to make sure that they get pleased. This album had a lot of heart to it. It's a brand new album, Underdog Heroes. It's actually more about the underdog people that needed the underdog heroes. There's a lot more underdogs than there is overdogs.
Yeah, right on.
But the needs of the many are more deserving than any. But they get put off all the time.
Right.
It's not like Spock said. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. It's not like that out there. They deny change because it works for them the way it is. And, they're not worried about the many. And,
worried about getting nervous.
It's like it starts off with a song called "Don't Let It Show," which is just medicine for me and for anybody else. It's a medicinal song. No matter what they do, no matter what they do, don't let them know that they're getting to you at all. Don't let them have the pleasure. They're getting to you at all. And in other words, don't give up no information. But it's also, title song is After That. We put a lot of songs, a lot of heart in this album. I wanted to make sure we did the song Ruby Stubbaker for Ruby and her mama, for her to know that everybody ain't forgot about her little girl. She was a great talent and a great friend, and we all loved her. And also Channeling Spirits we did because of, all the people that have passed away that really, we all stand on the shoulders of greatness.
Right on.
And, it's just because naturally the ones you admire the most are the ones that influence you. And this is, well, like I say, it's got a lot of heart in it. And we had 12 songs that are on the CD, but they got also an LP that's out, and the disc is got only 8 songs on it because it's for it to be hotter. If you remember from the old days,
right?
Only so many minutes.
Yeah, that's a limited edition too, isn't it?
Oh, that was with the gold vinyl.
Yeah.
They had limited edition on gold vinyl, but I'm glad they got both. I love vinyl, but they don't have any record players and radio stations anymore.
Yeah, see.
Very few anyway.
Well, back in the day when I was, because I've kind of had a weird kind of an upbringing. My pop was a police officer here in Western Kentucky, and as I got older, I started playing music, playing in bands and whatnot, and working in radio stations. And then once you have a family, what do you got? I mean, as of I don't mean that slick. I'm just saying I started playing drums.
Guitar?
Well,
what instrument did you?
The main instrument I did was rhythm guitar. And I probably should have played bass because I always followed the bass line the most, because I'd always hear the bass line under the melodies first. I think that's another reason I like Black Sabbath too, because they had such a strong bass line, just like you guys.
Oh
did.
yeah, Dirty Dottie. That Dottie. No, the bass player we have now is my birthday brother. His same birthday as me, but he's only about 50. I'm 71, so
a young pup.
Yeah, he's really little, but he used to work in a music store. He loved it. He looked up to Pat a lot. Pat was a great, huge concert bass player, big stage bass player. I thought he was the best musician in the band back then, and he was a great singer. I thought he sang better than me, but he had nothing to do with talking to him and being a master of the ceremony. You know what I mean? But nobody knew. He was singing in a band that was back home around Jonesboro, a bigger town than Black Oak. Every town is bigger than Black Oak. But he was a lead singer. Nobody knew all he wanted to do was he wanted to be a bass player. Well, and I told him he was meant to be the bass player in this band in Black Oak years ago, and he said he'd do it, and I couldn't believe it. Well, and his band had a lot cooler name. I mean, we weren't called Black Oak, Arkansas then, because we were at Black Oak, Arkansas. Somehow we were called Nobody Else, because nobody else was like us or whatever. But that's California. Everybody else was like us. Had hair down to their shoulder blades, and smoking pot and talking karma, getting hot and nasty. I guess we came up with the hot and nasty thing, but it wasn't really me. Well, that was a girl in Seattle, Washington, came up with that.
Well, take the inspiration where you find it, right?
Well, yeah, but Ricky had that music that sounded like a sneaky going down the stairs to hot and nasty, and we hadn't really come up with what we was going to sing about yet. And this girl comes in. We was at Seattle, Washington, and it's about the time when Woodstock was happening over here in 69, But it was. She came in, and there was about 10 of us back then, counting the crew. We was all in this room of this band house, waiting on Golden Earring to leave. And the next day, the girls picked out what guys they wanted to sleep with them, and the rest of them where they were going to be sleeping. But she came in. She wasn't living in the house. She came in from the driveway and come through the door and says, "You guys ready to hot and nasty?" I said, "Ricky, there's the title to that song." We went in the bathroom, and she did everybody else. By the time we got done with the song, we was laughing the whole time we was writing it, because it's a joke. It's like Titties and Beer was for Frank Zappa, another one of my heroes. Right. And he's mentioned in Channeling Spirits, but it's, and there's several more people than that. It would have been such a long song. And but you got to remember your heroes, you know.
Right on. Well, I was
Got to
going to
remember your heroes.
I was going to ask you too, real quick, because like I said, part of what I do on my little podcast, grew up on a lot of like older movies, like the old Vincent Price movies and Hammer films and all that, and stuff like Kolchak the Night Stalker and all them old shows that touch on kind of paranormal, spooky a little bit. And the thing I always dug about y'all is you could have like a very tender song, and you can have like a real good kind of a roadhouse kick ass little number too, but sometimes you would pepper it in like the channeling spirits thing and the race with the devil. I have to ask you, and I'm sure you're sick to death of answering this question, man, where did Halls of Karma come from? Was that a trip? Was that some sort of moment of you was out in the woods and just kind of got like clarity?
No, he was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I finished it after we went the last time to California, the third time. So we didn't come back with our tails tucked. She couldn't really, because the laws once told us we had to leave by sunup, not sundown, but sunup, because it's a long story, and I don't want to waste time doing all of it. But it was from an acid trip from LSD 25, and it was blotter. It came from the lab of well, anyway, I don't know where it came from, but Osley, was the one that started all that stuff. It was his lab, and it was a 4-way hit type of stuff, and we didn't know it took a hold. And me and Dirty Pat Darty, we never had a really good LSD trip, not unless we were having sex or something. That's the only thing that was a strong enough distraction to keep me from freaking out.
Yeah.
Get past the peak. And, it just, I finished it at, when we got to California, and, I turned it to, Halls of Karma was instead of the Halls of Judgment. Thank God they didn't have Christian rock yet, okay? I'm not against Christian rock. I love Christ and I love rock. But the things that happen to commerciality of such, look at all the different churches you got to say they're Christianity. I don't think that Jesus was here to start Christianity. I think he was here to make us understand God, his Father, not Father. But they sure did give him a hard day for Lord. And but I didn't want it to be. I wanted to take it from that kind of thing to more the Eastern or Western. Keep it out of, so they wouldn't pay attention to it that much. The ones of the established religions, because they were going to point their fingers at it. And a lot of people thought it was devil worship, which was definitely not that. They didn't listen to the rap, but that's what they thought. I mean, it's like any human being has a good and evil. We're here. We hope to make it to the next place and graduate instead of just failing. Totally failing. But
well, I was always
it was the first time anybody ever did anything like that, and I've never tried to duplicate it or do it again, because it was one of a kind. But the song is like heavy metal gospel. You know what I'm saying? It's like
well,
I had the energy, but Maniac Death, for those that aren't ready to give up the ghost because they at the last minute they realize they should have been a better person, or that kind of thing. The Maniac Death is. That's why I did that collage behind it, with all the sounds, good, bad, and all that different stuff. But they didn't have pitch transposers or, octave pedals and that kind of thing. But I didn't want it to sound like me. It would sound too pretentious. So I took the 2-inch master reel, and I sped it up to the third speed, the fastest speed you do, and slowed it down to normal to do the rap. It sounded like maybe about a 50-foot black man up in the sky, And the people that were, when we did that song in the studio, a lot of people say I was messing this up, going to ruin our album debut with that stuff, because nobody had ever done it before. And I told him, I said, it's going to set us apart. it ain't going to be unique among other bands. And I'm lucky this time I was right. But it's, people have tried to do things like that since. And I have a little bit of that on now, like on Underdog Heroes, the title cut, and on The Devil's Daughter, which now you have ways to do it without having to do the master tape that way.
Right.
But
well, that was in the glory days of like you said, the that type of reel, and because like now if you blow a track, well, man, rewind, delete, do another track. But back then, and that costed time and money, so you really did take a gamble on it.
Well, I didn't think I was, but people try to tell me I was.
No, I think, like you said, it was one of those songs that, for me, like I said, because I definitely love like Sting Me and Hot Nasty, and especially those ones, really always was sort of my jams. That was always the one when me and my brothers were playing together, and we start and start kicking on that, and we would just jam out. We'd sit and stretch that thing out 10, 15 minutes, and that was another thing I was going to ask you. Like when y'all did like the big jam in California, man,
California jam.
Yeah. It just was such a. It seems so effortless, I guess, because you've all been playing for so long. But sometimes you see people go up there and play, and it's just like they're punching into a clock and sitting in front of a machine of just going through the motions, But not y'all. I mean, that was the thing. Y'all always seemed to own. You always seemed to be loving the music, loving the people, loving what you were doing, and that's what, especially for my family, really dug at, because it was. Like you said, there had almost a gospel element, because I'm sure maybe your upbringing, and it's hard not to have some gospel upbringing in the South, but it was...
It's a sacred gathering, Steve, and I'm honored to master this ceremony, which is a sacred ceremony, and it takes the people and the performers both to do it, but it's, the stage is 40 feet high and 40 feet wide, and there were 2 stages on railroad tracks and that kind of thing. It's, it was over 300,000 people, and you couldn't see the back row.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. I didn't know I was good with big crowds until the third time we went to California, and they had the last leg of those freebeat concerts, out at Santa Monica or on the beach or Elysian Park or Griffith Park. And sometimes you have from 5,000 to 10,000 people. And I come from a town of less than 300 people, and I didn't know I was good with a big audience until then. And I don't know how it happened, really, but I turned and I looked at the guys. I said, "Man, you think we can do this?" I've got a feeling we can do this, and we started doing it. And of course, I believe that we got to have sight as well as sound. I don't believe we ought to stand flat-footed and think you're good enough. That's good enough, especially with the kind of prices escalation is there's people that have to pay. Which someday I hope to be able to show them that I'm going to put a people's price out there. You're going to have to find bigger places, because I don't want nobody to miss our show.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to tell you 2 things, and then I'm going to, don't let me forget about the washboard, okay? Put your finger up, remember that one. But when I went to Memphis, I actually played in some like metal bands and punk bands, of all things, which is so funny, because even then we would practice on stuff like Hot Nasty and stuff. But we were down there at the, what was it called? It was a big center. It was a big municipal building or something. And they had all these different bands down there. Well, we come in there, and I'd never been to Memphis. Okay, I'm from a town of about 10,000, or the county's 10,000. The cities might be 5. And so we drove down there, me and these other big old boys. And we got turned around, and we actually ended up taking the bridge over in Arkansas. And which, they're freaking out, man. Where we? And I said, no. First of all, it's all right, man. We're in Arkansas. Everything's good. This is Jim Dandy's place. And we actually went down to the edge where the river ran. And this is gonna might sound foolish to you, but I took a little bit of the Mississippi River mud, and I put a little bit on the back of my guitar, a little touch of it on my amplifier, a little bit on my stuff, anointing my chords with it. And I said, look, man, this is the birthplace of rock and roll and all this stuff and blues. If we take a little bit of that home with us, take some of that mojo back, we'll be all right. And it was so funny that, like you said, there's so much life in there. There's so much great music that's come from that place. It's so great to see.
Let me tell you pretty quick about. I picked up a scrubboard out of a junk pile one night in a party in California, and I didn't play it when I was in Arkansas, and it was a big hit. But first night I didn't use no thimbles, and it's really hard on the cuticles, hard on your fingers. And
tear you
the
up.
second night of the party, they wanted me to do it again. And boy, I was thinking, God, I got to think of something. So I thought of the thimbles, But I didn't know, you missed a lot in Arkansas. I didn't know the Yankee thing inside of hardly even existed back then. Much less did I know that they've been doing it for, 100 years. But they don't use a real scrub board. I call them scrub boards, not washboards, because nobody's going to wash their clothes on my scrub boards. But they got wood around them, And the ones they use down there are just a piece of metal that they put over their chest like a catcher's,
Yeah, like an umpire keeps you from getting hurt. Yeah,
but it's a good rhythm instrument, and with rock band you can hear like you can on a gourd, but you can't hear it with a gourd, with rock and roll. But I want to make sure I talk about the new album some in this, also the rest of the people in the band.
Absolutely,
it's not like it's all about me. No matter what people think, it ain't all about me.
Well, lay it on me.
Comes through me, not from me. Huh?
I said, absolutely. Let's jump into it. Yeah, I was just hitting a few things I was always curious about with you.
Oh, no, I want you to be able to know, but, I'm trying to think about the audience, too. A lot of young ones out there, they, and I appreciate that I can answer questions you've always wanted to ask about the past. But every day I wake up, it's a day. Yes, it's a rumor, and tomorrow never comes.
Right on.
And it's... they call that existentialism, I think. Living moment to it still could be your last. But, this album really, we wanted closure for a lot of the families. I mean, Ruby's Heartbreaker, Shannon's Spirits, Tommy Boland's, the song which really, I loved it on there. We did one on the last album, too. I knew Tommy before I did Johnny, who was our drummer, Johnny Bowen. And, of course, he's had some time off the road. He had a heart attack last year and then had an operation, got a pacemaker put in. And he's fine now. He will be playing on some dates as soon as he's, the doctor says he can travel more. It's not to playing so much as to traveling.
Right.
But we've got a brand new drummer he's great. He's just what Black Oak's all about. He's a crazy guy with a bunch of feathers in his hair and all kinds of shit like that, but he plays great drums, and his name is Derek Marshall, and his dad plays for Hank Jr. Has for quite a few years, but he's a great drummer. But and I talked about Billy Little. Now Sammy B, so fine, and she is so fine. She comes from New Orleans, and she's a great dancer. Covered the stage great. She's beautiful. And our voices sound good together. And I didn't bring her up to be a background singer. I mean, I manage her, but I want her to be herself. I want her to be like two people up there kicking ass. Like when Christina Aguilera was up there with Mick, and, but just, we've had a great time on stage. And I wrote the song Devil's Daughter for her because no matter, she was trying so hard in this business, the same way Ruby was. And I can't help it because we women have it harder, especially if they're beautiful. I mean, especially because of other women. It's hard to be in a band without all the girlfriends and wives of the other members getting upset by it. And so I wrote a song she's not the Devil's Daughter. Her daddy was from Lepanto, Arkansas. We're about 11 miles from Black Oak. And he would have been a year younger than me, and he would have been 70. And because his birthday would have been the 24th of this month. And she's something. I can't say everything, but me and her, we're really tight. And when I wrote The Devil's Daughter, I said, this is a song that even her haters will watch. And, and it's just a spoof in a sense, but it's, it's something that Rob Zombie would probably like. But it's just a metal thing, And I play guitar, the electric guitar, the riff on that song, I play it. And
awesome.
I used to play on songs and do acoustical rhythm on certain songs, but this song I actually got a big amp, and I got to be, blowing my pants with volume, just like everybody else. And it was a lot of fun. And I'll probably be playing more songs with a guitar on stage. It's just that, I like to make people get used to me moving and doing the whole thing, They don't want me to have to stand still by a microphone. I guess when I get up to the level where I can have a wireless guitar and a wireless mic, as long as it's one like Nick has where it comes around the back of your neck instead of over the top of my head like I don't like on top of my head kind of thing like my good friend Sammy Hager had. He's a great guy. But this is, I've got a lot of friends who've been in this business. We lost a bunch of them too. And also Sean Lane, he was like, I was his guardian, legal guardian, signed papers and everything for his grandmother. But he was with me from the time he was 15 to when he was 18. And he's passed away, but he's said to be probably the fastest guitar player that's ever born. And we found a cut that was done from years ago called Do Unto Others. And it mixes the old, like we're supposed to be, what was it? They called something about boogie. Said we was a premier boogie band or whatever. But it's just some of that old-fashioned rock and roll on the track. And then Sean came in on the solo and took it to the moon. Well, actually took it to Mars. But he was like one of my kids. And I gave his family closure too. And that's what's important to me on this album, I wanted to have one theme, and that is to sin to forget the unforgettable. And this is to remember our heroes. And, you never forget your heroes. They're the ones that are the good inspirations and help you make the good changes and help you stand against all the forces of evil and negative that don't even hardly bother you until it's worth bothering until you're a threat to them. Wow. And that's what I love to be. I love to be thrown inside of tyranny, and I love to be something that they get upset by. And they took me and interrogated me once in Washington D.C. And at the end of it, they asked me questions like, "Are you here to incite the insurrection, or shake the revolution? You're an icon smasher, a taboo breaker, and all that stuff." I didn't know what icon meant. I'm not an icon, okay? But I'm a dandy. But it's like, at the end of it, the more they told me, it was 6.5 hours without a glass of water. There's 3 of them, but I was so egoed out, I thought, well, I'm a verbal fire snatcher. There's only 3 of them. I'm in. But after 6.5 hours without a glass of water, I had a little bit of foam on the corners of my mouth. And I saw a window pane, and I said, I'm not saying another word till I can talk to my lawyer, and I don't know his name. And as they did, they started being nice to me, leading me down this other hallway to get me out. And they said, well, if you're going to stay in this business, our advice to you just to be a song and dance man. We're going to be talking about all these things you should be talking about. I said, that's what freedom of speech is part of the American way, and I'm not going to change. I've never changed. I've been me from the beginning. Hopefully, I try to change for the better in a lot of ways. I know there's a lot I can learn about a lot of things, but it's if they make it where we can't. The next thing is censorship. If they make it where we can't have freedom of speech, then everything that everybody's died for and fought for, so many different wars and so many different times, and then it's all for nothing. I mean, because we've got to stand our ground. We know what we ought to be able to do, and it's not. We've settled with so little and so much less than what we should have had as a people. We all should have been able to have a lot more. I believe we should have had a lot more fun than we were able to have, because anything's any fun, you usually somehow finally make it against the law, to have that much fun. But, I told them, they also told me something. Well, they said they knew I had done this certain thing, and that they knew they couldn't give me that. I said, well, you can only try me once for that, can't you? And he says, yeah, but we can shoot you anytime. I said, that's a big comeback. He said, well, you got to hit a moving target. And I'm still a moving target. Maybe not quite as fast, and I can't do the splits anymore, because when I had the wreck about 20 years ago, when I was 44, I think it was, something like that, and I hit fell asleep at the wheel and hit an oak tree, and it broke my back, and it was a rude awakening. But it's like I realize I have a very strong spiritual belief, and it's all it's all gonna. It might get a little worse before it gets better, but it's all gonna be better. We'll always be for good, Good will always overcome evil, and that unholy trinity of Lucifer, Satan, and Beelzebub, and all of the devils. That's already been over. All you have is a little bit of aftershocks. That's already been settled. That was just, evidently, the good Lord wanted to company. He liked his first prototypes. I don't know if he's last or something, or the first or something, or the onlyest or something. I'm not supposed to know. But I believe in God because I believe in the power of, personalities and individuality. If you've got personality, walk with personality, talk with personality, smile with personality,
Right on.
That's what it takes. That's the ultimate power in heaven and earth. Look at Elvis and Muhammad Ali. Well, they set them apart from all the rest of the people who are in that position because of personality. And I'm just trying to help everybody understand that they ain't alone. And that we all, like the BC Boys say, we all should fight for the right to party. But we don't want to get so pissed off. All the young people, they have more about than anybody to be pissed off. But we got to make sure that we're so pissed off we can't party.
Yeah, you got to have some fun.
Like the last time they had the Woodstock, they had bands that I really love. But their stuff has been, they've circled their names like they did mine because of things they were, singing about and playing about. But with the second Woodstock, it's like the music wasn't keeping people together and making the weather, which we're going to always have at that time of year, be volatile or at least wet. And but they had bands that really were agitating the upset part of the pissed off part of youth. And it's not going to be like this next time. I mean, also we're on that tour coming up this year it's a anniversary of the first Woodstock, and we're very fortunate to be in that position. But we would have been there the first time, except we were in Seattle, Washington. And we haven't done our first album yet.
I was going to ask you something real quick, Jim, because I don't want to forget to mention. Now, your new album, right? Is it Cleopatra Music and Films? That's pushing that, right? So
it's on the Purple Pyramid Project Cleopatra, that labeled so I can't go with that name.
Okay, because I was wanting to make sure if you have a website or where they can reach, people can reach you. I always like to throw that out there for people who want to look up, be listening to this while they're checking us out.
Yes, we do, but I'm the guy told me to stay off the grid, so I got Sammy and Ricky. They both have website information, and but also Cleopatra they can get the information on the new album, Cleopatra.com. Our team. I'm not your man on knowing all those things, but I could go back down before we get done, and let me know when I got 5 more minutes. I'll go down and get Sammy to tell you what her email, what our
Right. Well, I've got the
stuff like that is.
Well, I got the CleoRex.com, which it shows most of the stuff connected to the album. So I'll go ahead and throw that out. And also for people after the fact, you can go to StevieAsher.com. That's my site, and I'll try to have some stuff up, some links, and also in the description, because this will go through Paranormal UK Radio, it'll go through iTunes, iHeart, and it also goes through YouTube. So hopefully should be able to get that out to several people.
Well, thank you. And, this album, also we have a song called Arkansas Medicine Man, so we got an Arkansas song on there. But it's sort of, it's more or less Native American. And I think it's really a great tune. We got a lot of different sides of us. Some people might not, I loved when we did Strong Enough to Be Gentle and songs like that, they're the other side of us, and she didn't have the next album have more of the countryside of us, which I don't know. That's we weren't thinking. But we had a bunch of them was written. But when we did this album, we stood our ground, me and Ricky Belton said, we don't want to do another album just to where they want to hear, where they want us to re-record some of the old songs again. You know, it's like having a date. If I take your big brother with you along on a date for chaperone. We're proud of all our past and all our songs, old songs, but I don't want to have to live in my own shadow. Our fans, they begin to think we weren't writing any new songs. So this album is, but also we have some of this, you know, we did that Tommy Bonus song, You Told Me That You Love Me, and we did Don't Let It Show, that's an Alan Parsons song off I Robot. I mean, also Ruby's Heartbreaker, we were, back then I wasn't writing much music, and I do it quite a bit now, but back then I wasn't, and Ricky was too, when she died, I'd been talking to her about every day, or every other day, and they gave her 6 months when she found out. It was almost a day, and by the end of it, I didn't cry as much as I was thankful she didn't have to suffer anymore, because a brain tumor is a painful thing, way to go. And, but it's like he was too upset to write music then, and so also Mark Farner knew her, and he was a personal friend of mine. And I told Mark, if you don't mind, I'm going to change the words a little bit, connecting with Ruby, and we're going to use your Heartbreaker. He said, no, I love Ruby, do it. And it sounds like a great idea, and he loved it after I did it. And she knew her too. And the Alan Parsons song, like I say, it's medicinal because it's like saying, no matter what they do to you, don't let them have the pleasure to know they're getting to you at all. You know, don't let it show. And I believe in that. I live by that. Because there's a lot of times that people get to me more than they know. I don't want them to know. But you know what I mean.
Right.
But we had a lot of good blues on there too, you know, and as far as launch goes. But the funny thing is, Love for Rent, that song, everybody thinks that I wrote the words and Ricky wrote the music. And it was the other way around. I wrote the music. I was the one to hang out in strip bars a lot in those years. But she probably didn't go 12 times her whole life. But me and Bolin went, 12 times in 2 weeks. But I wanted it to music be kind of macabre a little bit, and it's not, you know, it's not at all. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on, you know, behind the scenes and under the table and
right on
in the VIP room. And
well, that's what I love so much. I love so much about this album is that, you know, y'all ain't afraid to go kind of dark, because that, like you said, that's part of life. You know, there's the good time songs, and there's also some really dark heartbreak stuff on this album, and that's why I've been sharing the heck out of it. As soon as I saw an album's coming out, I was like tagging everybody, man, you got to check this out. And then you started kind of hearing the album out there, and it's like, this is really good, you know. So yeah,
Wrong Side of Midnight, you know, Gavin, right there. A lot of my friends say they really like that song. They say it reminds us for me of Jim Dandy being like a Dr. John type of thing or something, but it's sort of like all these people that are all messed up. You know what I mean? Their whole life is a mess because they're so messed up, and they got to learn that their neck ain't going to hold their head up forever. You know, and you got to lay it down. You got to be able to sleep, and because if you ain't got time to dream, you don't have anything to reach for. It's like made a moment there. You got to don't lag out too far where you can't step, but you got to have dreams you reach for. You got to have things that inspire you to try to do things you never would have tried to do except as a dream, you know. And in that song, Sammy couldn't stand me. She don't like when I do anything third person. I'm one of those people in the world, you know, like Jerry Lee or Big Bopper or you know, some of the people that could say their own. They could sing about herself in third person every now and then. I had in the lyrics about it because she's out on the street with Jim Dandy, and she didn't want me to be third person, so she jumped in there ahead of me. She says, "I'm out on the street with Jim Dandy." I said, "I loved it." I said, "You just turned it into another Jim Dandy song, hon." But she is a lot in my life right now. She's really a great person and a great performer. And we have a year-old baby right now. He was a year-old, May 18th. And finally she got a boy. She had 2 girls already in life, but and hell, I got 4 boys and 1 daughter. I got a boy 53. That'll make you feel old. I got a boy 51. I got a daughter 39, and I delivered her and I got two sons after that. They're 22 and 27, and I got grandkids. I'm a granddaddy now, and I love being grandpa. You know, I do, and I love children when they're little. I love them. This time with when now she's had a boy, I've been able to experience with him that part I missed with all the others when I was out on the road so much, and that is, you know, I changed the diapers even when they're shitty, and I've also, you know, got food all over me trying to feed them when they're in the bouncy.
Oh, we'll do that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just great. His name is Sean William, and he's a piece of work. He's handled, and I'm proud of that. But it's really, you know, this album, you know, the blues stuff like 12-bar blues, I love that. That's the cut. It's kind of at the end of the jam just gets to me. But it's a very important album for us, me and Ricky, and we did get to show him finally what we think Black Oak ought to sound like in 2019, 2020 or whatever.
Yeah.
We're, you know, I'm still here. And they ain't got me yet, and I'm still me, and I'm, you know, what I don't want what I talk about to make it too dangerous for the rest of my guys, and I don't want to get everybody in trouble with my loose lips. But I still stand for and believe in what I believe in, and everybody should be able to stand for what they believe in, you know.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, America, the part I love about it is freedom of speech and individuality and being able to, you know,
right. Well,
stand for these things. It's everything, you know. That's what sets us apart from everybody else.
You know, I was going to say too that you were talking about like Mr. John Lennon and a lot of the folks that were kind of part of the time and ain't here no more, and it kind of makes me think of that old Johnny Cash song, Men in Black, you know, or Man in Black, you know, where he talks about, you know, I wear this for this guy and for that, you know, and it's almost, I mean, not to put no pressure on you, but it's sort of like, you know what, hey, I'm still here. I have kind of an obligation to get out there and rock the crap out of this. I have an obligation to sort of, I want these kids to know what rock and roll is, you know, because so much stuff is auto-tuned now, man, and it's, I mean, there's some good music out there, don't get me wrong, but, you know, when you really got a balls to the wall, you know, new band, but it's old school too, in one band, you just can't beat it, you know, and it's good to see, like you said, still out there, still producing, still staying relevant, still in the mix. I love it.
I love it. I still love it. You know, but having a band, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But you see, the thing is, multiple personalities and everything like that, it's like a sociological experiment in terror, or, you know, exercise in futility, a lot of people think, but it's not. It can be done. And you do have to think about others. And that's really, you know, it takes everybody. It's not all about Jim Dandy, you know what I mean? And I don't, now that I used to hate it when I was a kid. My dad started calling me that when I was 9 years old. And now that I got grandkids that love it, I don't mind having a cartoon name. Hell, it's okay with me. But, you know, I was lucky because when I met Elvis, he was a Jim Dandy freak. He's the one who told me to do Jim Dandy's Rescue. And first he told me on the phone, but then I finally met him in Macon, Georgia. But he was nice to me when he didn't have to be. And he was, you know, well, when I saw him on that Southern hiding behind my grandma's recliner, I just thought he was having more cosmic fun than any human I'd ever seen. And I wanted to have his job. I wanted to do what he was doing. Everybody when I was in fourth grade, they said, who the hell do you think you are? You know, you stand next to your desk and you say what you want to be when you grow up and all that kind of stuff. Right. And them making me run out of that classroom crying and stuff was part of what made me never forget I wanted to do it. And it kept on until finally we started learning a few things, you know. That first album was what our life has been, had a lot of divine intervention in it, if you know the truth, because I was the only one in the band that was an idiot that thought, what are you all surprised about? It's our destiny. We're supposed to be doing this. It was a damn miracle. We got out of town, there was less than 300 people in Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, and nobody made it from where we was from, doing anything hardly. And much less music. And we made it, by the time we was 21, we started making it, you know. We had first album and stuff, and it was a summation of 7 years of family that we had before we started playing music. And the material that was there was stuff that we'd been working on for a while. And, but it was, you know, we did it, and we really didn't know what we were doing, but we didn't try to tell people we knew what we was doing. We actually, one smart thing we did was you know, admit that we really don't know what we're doing, but we're having a good time. And that's the main thing, is have a good time doing it.
Well, I was going to ask you too. I was going to ask you real quick. At the level that you are as a musician, and all the different people that your paths have crossed, and this and that, is there somebody like from the past or now that you say, you know what, if they wanted me to do some vocals on something, or if they would want to step in and do some vocals on a song, I wouldn't be above it? Is there anybody out there that you think's just really cool that you'd maybe want to do something with?
Well, yeah, I got Sammy now. I mean, she's in the band. She's, you know, first girl that actually replaced Ruby, and she loved Ruby, and they would have loved each other if they had known each other. But they both were trying to go against, you know, a lot of people. Even when I first got either one of them, I had even Black Oak fans said, "What are you getting the girl for? You know, what are you doing this for? You don't have a background singer?" No, you need a background singer. But it's I believe that equal rights. But the thing is, I knew that she's the kind of thing that our fans would love. And me and her had a lot of fun on stage together. And you can't do that kind of fun once or twice and not want to do it every night. And but we will be producing an album on Sammy also. And, you know, it's sort of like the mothership. Black Oak is like the mothership. And it's, I guess everybody in the band probably, even Ricky's got somebody, he's got a band, he hadn't put it on record yet, but he calls them the Mutts. And I've sung one or two songs on it myself, but everybody's got projects that aren't Black Oak, except for me. And, but it's a full-time job, and there's no retirement in being from Dandy. And I don't plan on retiring from something I love. God, if somebody tried to make me not do it anymore, I'd have to kill them.
Oh man, like I said, that's
it's easier to get away with that than just beating up somebody.
I reckon, yeah. So if they don't find the body, they can't convict you.
It's not right to kill anybody, though, kids. I don't mean that, you know.
I know that.
I know this is young people. It's not really kids that are listening to your show so much, but you know, I don't believe in taking nobody's life unless they're trying to take somebody in my life, just my family or my children, or, you know, if I have to, you know, I would defend my own, and I would defend what I love. But you know, I just want to be able to be happy doing what we do and make other people happy, and not let other people know that they're not alone. You know, it's nowadays it's hard for anybody to be able to let anybody know their opinion, even you know, even inside their own house and inside their four walls. You know. Because they're afraid that somebody's going to hear it, or they're, you know, look at the technology. They don't have to have a band 2 blocks away or anything. They can get it now from a satellite in your living room. But you know, as long as you're not malicious intent and people aren't trying to do harm to other people, I think that everybody has got a right to their opinion, and I think that's part of what keeps it being interesting. Is that everybody they haven't completely destroyed hope, and I hope that they never do. But you know, there's a lot of, you know, individuality, and there's never two snowflakes who can prove it that are alike, or two leaves that are alike. They're all different, but that kind of individuality is what proves to me there is a divine maker, or a Father in heaven, a God, a one God concept. But and I know he loved my mama. I've lost both my parents. My dad died last year. He was 93. And he told me, he says, when you get 93, that's when they start putting diapers back on you. I said, Dad, what are you going to say that for? He says, I got some on now.
Oh, man. That's rough.
And he was a great man, always more man than I was. And I had great parents. That's where my riches came from. Is good parents. They didn't have money to leave me or none of that stuff. And I didn't, you know, I made it, and I got to be what they say I'm a legend. If so, anybody can be one. I wasn't trying to be one. It's the people that make you one or not, you know. You know, good parents, and that's the best thing that can ever happen to any child. And I'm against child abuse. I'm against you know, children not having the chances and the good books and things to learn from. They need more input, and it's just they are the wealth of the world. Youth is the wealth of the world. Our children are our future, and I want them to have more fun than anybody. They're amazing to me. They are amazing, and people like you are their mentors. And you've got to always remember, like you have been, about your youth. Like when you opened this up and you was talking about it, that was, you know, it's always very special. And you know, I got to tell you that they called me Mr. Hot and Nasty and all that stuff because it was a joke song. And then I did make up a little bit more than making up for lost time, you know, because I'd heard about sex and I'd heard about, you know, making love and stuff, and I knew it must be great, but in Black Oak I wasn't going to find out about that until I left. And now I'm wanting to go back. I'm getting the place built and everything, and I'm going back to Black Oak because having a young baby, you don't want to be in any city really. And you know, they may be bored being around where my parents were when the older ones, when they were staying with grandparents, but at the same time they're safe and they learn to use their imagination. I had to. I grew up on a gravel road. My dad was a farmer, right. And it's you know, I do want all the kids in small towns. We've given a lot of them hope because we made it, but we had to leave our small town to do it, and that takes a lot of guts. And like I say, we came back twice for our tail truck from California, but the third time we stayed out there. And like I say, I realized I was good at big crowds, and it was all over but stream then. It's fun. It's fun, though. It's just kind of cosmic fun that you can only have when you go out of the, you know, out of the circle of conformity and the expected and the you know, when it's predictable. That's one thing I don't want to be is predictable, and I always want to have it for, you know, the difference in, to say the Rolling Stones. I love the Rolling Stones, okay? I love Robbie Robertson, who wrote all the songs for the band. Lee Von Helm was a great friend of mine. And I never got to meet Robbie, but he's one of my heroes also. Frank Zappa was one of my heroes. I mean, in the Beatles, of course, John Lennon. I met John Lennon, and he made me get nauseated almost because he told me I was ahead of my time, but he wasn't really talking about our music. He was talking about what I did on stage. When I talked to the people, he says, you don't talk to the people, you talk for the people. And Ricky used to say when he was young, he says, you're saying what they're afraid to say, but don't you know there's a reason they're afraid to say it, you know? But I couldn't help it. It needs to be said. It's got too good to say it, not to do it. And, you know, the things that they're not supposed to say. And I even had people wanting me to be a politician when we were big the first time. And said, well, people listen to you when you talk. I said, well, it's because I'm not force-feeding them things they don't want to hear. It's easy to have them listen to me when I'm saying what they would like to say, and if they had a chance, they would say, you know. And I'm not a politician. I'm an anti-politician. And it's just, you know, I can't help but say, you know, people, when they start in a position of power, it starts making them blind, and they start justifying the things they do that they know are wrong. But they're in a position to where they could change things, and change is the law of the universe. And when they deny all change, it's not just bad change. Or, you know, you've got to leave room for change, and people deserve it. And it's, you know, it's just we need to have it where we don't feel like we're sneaking around to play rock and roll. Rock and roll is not noise pollution.
Right on. Well, I remember, I was just going to say in the last couple of minutes we got, I remember there was a thing where there were like church groups, and they were really flipping out, you know, because they took, you know, some of the titles and stuff. I don't even think they listened to the lyrics, man. And they just went, oh, well, that song says this. It must be about that. And people would be acting a fool. And remember back in the days when people be burning records and stuff, right? And I'm sitting there going, and I was a small kid and I could see this. It's like, have they even listened to the album? You know? So, like you said, you've been fighting oppression for a long time, and you're still doing it. And that's what I really dig about it. And I think that's has always endeared people to guys like you. I do want to say one thing before we get too deep. My brother Mike and my brother Robert, which we called him Boo Boo, where we was born, born, I guess, what you'd consider the poor or the black section of town. So, we got along with everybody and stuff, but he always got the little nickname Boo Boo because he was always tagging along with the older kids. And but yeah, I just want to say my brother Mike Asher and Robert Asher, just like me, love y'all to death, man.
The House of Asher. The House of Asher.
That's it. And it was just one of those things. I want to see what your next step's going to be. I want to see where.
Well, you mentioned Boo. You called your which one is the one you called Boo?
My brother Robert called him Boo Boo. Yeah.
Well, our me and Ricky also had another producer with us on the mix down. We went to Royal Studios, and Boo Mitchell, which I've known since he was 12, because his father was Willie Mitchell, and you know who he was, right?
Yes, sir.
Played horn, soul music, and all that. He had a Grammy, but also Boo, the Grammy-winning producer, because he had damn it, what time for me had brain freeze. He had the one that God dang it, he looks young, but he's older than that. But
oh man.
Oh, yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
He got a Grammy for doing it, and they dance. He had this guy who dance with him and do those shit. Grab a cup full of whiskey and all kinds of cool stuff he was saying, but it wasn't rap. He sings his ass off. But anyway, Boo had won a Grammy, and he was with us. There's three of us at the mix down, because both mine and Ricky's here. But the funny thing was, when he was 12, he told me someday he was going to be a producer, and he wasn't just going to do what, just rhythm and blues and stuff like that. He was going to do rock and roll, and Black Oak was one of them he was going to do. And I told him, now that he's not 12, I told him, I said, I never really had any young person at 12 tell me they was going to be a producer when they grew up, much less they was going to do rock and roll and everything else, no matter what color they were.
Exactly.
But we were getting to do it. I liked it. It completed the circle, and his ears are great, and it's it was a pleasure. It's always going to be a team. The three of us are always going to be a team doing stuff.
Right.
And people now are talking, good about us and saying that they used to not talk that good, but now they're realizing that they better jump on the train. So, and I don't condemn them for it. There's got to always be people like that. It's like the prodigal son,
right?
And I'm glad that they came back to realizing that there can be people that, most of them are followers, and they're just, if it's somebody that is dangerous to be a friend of, you're guilty by association, which Ricky's been all his life. But it's, I got him kicked out of every public school in the state of Arkansas, and it's never happened before or since in the history of the state to be kicked out of every public school. They knew our parents didn't have a lot of money and couldn't afford private schools. They thought they were running our life. Oh. And so I knew I had to do something to where I didn't feel guilty about that.
Right.
But, it's funny because we really hadn't done anything that bad, except what we stood for. That's what they told us. They didn't really know what it was, but they didn't like what we stood for, whatever that was.
Hey, Jim?
And when the kids say that, that's because I've heard the parents say that,
Sure. Well, listen, Jim, I was going to say, I'm right in that about 45 minutes down, so I'm going to have to do an outro. Would you stick around long enough for me to talk to you off air?
Do what?
So I'm getting ready to do an outro. We're plumb out of time for the hour. If you'll stick around a minute, I'll talk to you off air in just 1 second. All right. Well, there it is, folks, man. I'm telling you, Mr. Jim Dandy Mangrum. And I want to say, please make sure to check out the record, Underdog Heroes. Get it and enjoy it. But I want you guys to enjoy your time. And until next time, be good to each other, love one another, and just, be cool to each other. Try to explore a little bit of life out there and get out there to it. Until next time.